Anyone else have a desk job and being micromanaged by performance tracking software? I work mostly from home, and over the last 18 months my employer has installed performance tracking onto all our laptops. It tells my employer when I log in, whether I am active on the system or not, what I am doing on the system, how long that should take me and how long I actually take, how much work I get through in a day, how many client emails I respond to every day, and how long it took me after receiving it. So essentially, in order to pass every day, I have to log in exactly at 9 a.m., log out at 6 p.m. and work flat out and be visibly active on the system that entire time. Before that we had broad targets that as long as we met them no one cared how. Now they want me to account for every minute of my working day. We all received a warning last week that a toilet break is 5 minutes, not 20 minutes, and they don't care if we hit our broader targets over the week. They are paying for our time between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. and we should be devoting every minute of that time to the company. Has anyone else encountered this yet? It seems a lot more prevalent since COVID and more people work from home now. This will only get worse. Instead of an AI doing your job, the AI will be your boss, lol. This is awful. I'm a burst worker. I'll get 3 hours worth of work in an hour, heck off for 45 minutes repeat. I would really have to change the way I work to be active the time. I can't even imagine. I would have to pace myself. They would have to hire people. As a tech delivery lead who spends all day thinking, this would be my downfall quickly. My job is to make a relatively risk-free plan, share then plan, and police it as it move along. Little of that requires me to do much on my computer. Granted, a lot of my day is in meetings which are obviously work time, but outside of that most of the day is spent thinking, or since I'm more old school, drafting notes by hand that I use to create final updated docs and such as needed. If you're not going to quit, and you should, collude with your co-workers in the role to extend the amount of time it takes on average to do routine tasks. Think double the normal amount of time for every task, so you get half as much done in a day. When the manager gets the reports, they're just looking for things in red. If your team decides to flub the numbers as a group, either everything will appear in red, forcing management to adjust expectations, or if the system is smarter and only compares you to an average, everything will be in the green and you're free to work at your leisure. This 1984 crap doesn't work for me. If this were me, I would seek life elsewhere, especially if this was a work from office situation. Even if you know how to monitor your employees' computer activity, you should never let your guard down. You would be surprised to discover what people can do to cheat time tracking software. Such bloody leeches. No one wants to work anymore. Otherwise known as no one wants to work for micromanaging, egocentric, dickbags anymore. Quit. I just hope they won't do this at my company. Fucking teams going inactive after 5 MN. I'd tell them to go fuck themselves with this bullshit. We're people, not robots. One size does not fit all. This is counterproductive and stupid, not to mention unethical. If they want me to work for them, they can stop this shit. If they persist, I'd start looking for a new job. We're not indentured servants. I sell my labor. If I don't like it, I will sell it to someone else. This is their reaction to WFH. They thought work productivity is actually up, but how can we make work the horrible experience they remember from the office? My job just recently started doing daily meetings in the morning where we are supposed to present how we are going to make progress that day. We have to also include level of effort, and how many actual hours we think we are going to spend on work. Redundant though, because we already do an end of the day email to our section leads with what we did that day. It saw a new push by our boss because we all apparently aren't doing enough. They forgot about the reports that came out years ago where the synopsis was something like fucking around at work boosts productivity rather than hindering it. I say quit if you are able, op. And let them know why. Yup, and I quit that motherfucking job. What is the name of the software? Run. Any company that is going this far for efficiency is doing so out of desperation. Since they no longer care about profit and are focusing on control, that company is in the toilet. It is probably going to go through a restructuring soon, and this data will be part of the factors to who to lay off. Best to start looking for greener pastures now. I've been though hyper-focus on KPIs metrics. It means that upper management does not have any real work to do. I simply wouldn't be able to cope with this. I can't do a full 8 hours straight. I have peaks and valleys of productivity. Never understood why they care how you do the work as long as you do it. I had a company that installed this software not knowing they had to categorize what apps software we were using as productive, so like 2 weeks after it was implemented they could fire like half of their developers because they all had 95 unproductive time. That was an awkward meeting when someone asked them to drill in on their name to see what software we were using unproductively. This is where corporate America has lost its logic. They assume ours productivity. This is awful. No difference to someone standing behind you and watching over you constantly. Hopefully you can find another job. This betrays a profound lack of trust. If they can't trust you to do your job, why did they hire you? I am left alone to do my job. I am coming to realize working from home and not being micromanaged are benefits all on their own. And I work harder because of it. If my company has this, I'm screwed. They'll see an awful lot of mouse swirls every 10 minutes all day. My company is getting this. They'll be matching computer monitoring data with our clocking system, door card entries, and entries into the building. This is in addition to Microsoft Teams, which shows your status to anyone who wants to see it, and Outlook, where you have to schedule all your activities for every half-hour block. I can't believe how much transparency with a negative connotation has come to the workplace in the past 10 years. It's like we're living in glass houses. Glass houses that also record our every move. I remember a story of a guy who also started to get tracked. He got some software that did random keystrokes and mouse movements. Then he started to work less hours. During the next performance review he got a super good review and a raise, because his productivity was so high. I would look for a new job immediately. I wouldn't be able to work there. My favorite is when I'm actively doing something. Mouse movement and all, and in disconnected due to being idle. This sounds like Sutherland Global. Really any in every corporate job from here into the end of existence, because now the AI is here and they start tracking us like the F-sheep they think we are. People are going to get smart. They're going to stop using companies that work like this. They're going to stop buying products from companies that work like this. Looking at you, Wendy's. Let me just have a bucket beside my desk to use as a toilet, because there ain't no way I'm getting to my bathroom, using, and getting back in 5 minutes, rolling eyes face. This is absolutely ridiculous. Everyone has their own way of working, and if you're getting your shit done, does it really matter that you go for a 45 minutes break instead of a 15 minutes one? This level of micromanagement really gets me irrationally angry. This is the shit that made me quit my WFH job and return back to manual labor. At least now, when I finish my tasks, I can stand there in peace until my next assignment without receiving a barrage of calls, group texts, and emails demanding what I'm doing. That level of micromanagement literally drove me insane. Places like this deserve extreme turnover rates. It's the only way they will learn it's unacceptable, and even then they probably won't. Well, for starters, that warning was illegal, and so is tracking your bathroom usage, so if I were you, I'd start pushing that up a bit, and hope they get stupid enough to punish you, then take that to the doll. In the meantime, fuck 'em, it isn't worth stressing yourself out over. Do your tasks without rushing, and if it takes too long they can go jump in lake. I knew of someone that would open a blank doc and put a weight on her spacebar and go back to sleep.